Hey guys, welcome to the Lugards. Today's episode is a little bit different. It's all about parenting, the good, the bad, the ugly, and all the choices that shape our kids. I don't have kids yet, but today I have someone special, my very own sister. Hey Somi.
Hey, Danda, what's up? Happy to.
Everyone's probably wondering who's Danda.
I know. Hey, Jidao.
Well, anyway, so we're gonna dive into homeschooling, and I guess who better to educate us based on our experiences than someone who's actually living it day by day.
Okay, I'm not educated. I'm not educated, but thanks for having me. What was the question again?
Let's start by, I guess, introduce yourself.
Introducing myself. Okay, so like you said, I'm your sister, and um, I have four kids that I home educate, and I'm also an IT consultant. What else?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like to
Uh,
talk about myself.
that's how humble he is. He's an amazing person. You guys trust me. Anyway, I guess let's start with the big question. I mean, I was going to ask why did you say home education instead of homeschooling, but I don't want to veer too much off script. First of all,
Okay.
let's start with the big question. Like, what made you decide to homeschool your kids?
Okay, so I don't think I had like any like light bulb moments, and I'm like, hey, okay, I want to start homeschooling my kids or home educating my kids. But I don't know if you remember that this shelf back then in when we lived in Nigeria. Yeah, so I'll always go there and get like books to read. So there was a book I read then, or some book on homeschooling and education and stuff. And I was just like, wow, I'm going to try this. And then would always like watch all of like YouTube videos back in the day, and they're like, people that are homeschooled are like super smart. So like all those are like Saturday, Sunday morning banters on the dining room, and I'll always be like, when I have my six children, then I wanted to have six children.
That's
I
great.
remember that instead I did, and I was like, I'll homeschool my children, and they would be like, they would be telling me the reasons why I shouldn't homeschool, blah 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 blah. And then I now resolved that okay, I was going to homeschool the last one, my last child, because I just felt like, oh, let me just do like some sort of experiment. But it didn't occur to me that I was like homeschooling until I had Eze, right? And I mean, before Eze was born, I was already like researching, like, I was already looking forward to like the things that we'll learn together. I don't know if you remember then, like, I had, when you came before Eze was born, I had like all the books I had bought for him and stuff. And I was like, okay, then I buy him this book and write your name, blah, 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 blah. And I was like,
Yeah.
don't write the name, like, leave the space. I still have that book, by the way. And so I was like teaching him. I don't know, maybe it's because I don't know. I was teaching him, and then I think he was like maybe three then, and I think once we were like at the library. You remember Ezra was almost like always bigger than his age, always looked bigger than his age, and he was like reading like at like two or so. And a lady at the library saw us, and she said, "Oh, why is he not in school or something like that? You guys are homeschooling?" And then I said, "No, he's only like I think then he was like two and a half. He wasn't up to three." And I was like, "Oh, he's not in school yet. He's only two, something like that." And she said, "Oh wow, you guys are doing amazing homeschooling." And then and I remembered. Then I was like, "Oh, I'm already doing this homeschooling too." So that then so that I think probably that's how like okay, now I said okay, actually this is what I'm actually doing, but maybe imposter syndrome. I never actually wanted to like say I was homeschooling because I don't know. I just felt like, oh, I didn't know as much as people who were homeschooling. So yeah, there was never like a big moment of like, okay, let me start homeschooling now. it was just like natural to me. Yeah.
That makes sense. I guess that makes sense. I remember the whole book situation and everything. And I guess part of me felt that that might have actually happened with you. I wasn't surprised when you suddenly said you were homeschooling your kids. Actually, I and you mentioned that a lot growing up. So
Yeah.
okay. So I guess you already answered my second question in your first question because I was going to ask
Cool.
you like, is this something you always plan to do, or did it come up because of like circumstances? Is there anything from our childhood specifically? The
I mean, we're both born to professors, right? So I don't know. I just feel like I grew up with so many books. We grew up in a university campus.
yeah,
So it's like everybody around us were professors or like
that's
working in the
true.
academia. So I guess I didn't know any better. And I mean, like talking to people now, and almost felt like, I don't know, maybe I guess books were surrounded with books. So somehow, I don't know if it was a given that we would do books eventually. And then somehow, like, also like marrying Emeka too. And he's also like very academically inclined and stuff. I still remember it was late to Bemonia, may he so rest in peace, during one of I think the vote of thanks in our wedding. He had said something like, "Nwa professor." This one is a like he was like talking to me, and then he now said like Emeka to academic pedigree. Ojekwa Princeton, like we are just talking, and then he now said when they now come together, ihe ha ga-amụ prodigies, like so, like when we were watching it, and we just like watched that part, we kind of like laughed because we never thought about it. Like okay, like coming from both parents who are like well learned or well educated. Yeah, but there was never a like, okay, let me homeschool or like it wasn't like performative. It was more like
Mm, natural.
it was just natural. Yeah.
Mm, interesting. Yeah, we did grow up like around a lot of books. I liked reading. Maybe not always not always school books, yeah, but I liked reading a lot of.
Yes, you read a lot of like 48 Laws of Power,
Yeah, like history books.
Luna, yeah, history and stuff.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
didn't
know.
like
I feel like
I didn't like reading my school books.
yeah, yeah. Like I still remember all those times where you'd say things like I would say, "Oh, I have read the Ababio like 3 or 4 times," and you're like, "Ah, why did you read them 3 or 4 times?" Like, I read other books that I don't think we are necessarily. I think I read a lot of like self help books growing up, and yeah, like I still remember reading The Power of Positive Thinking, and I was actually in Jess Wandanda. I was like 10 then when I read that book. And I was just like, I was hyped. I still remember like my friends, I was telling them, we need to make a plan for our lives. Whatever we do now will decide our future. Because when we want to become president, we don't want
Yeah,
to like mess
you
things
were
up.
forcing me to read self-help books. I remember be proactive, don't be reactive.
I want me to do. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean,
anyway, that was some nice banter. Nice trip down memory lane. But okay, let's take it further back though. So what made you actually decide to have kids in the first place? Like, what was
okay, this.
what? I guess you've kind of answered the second part of this question. Like, what was your parenting vision back then? Like, I know a lot of people like fantasize like when I have kids, but you kind of already answered that part. But
Eh,
what made
I
you
don't,
actually?
yeah, I don't think I ever. So, I wanted to have kids, but I didn't want to go through childbirth.
Mm,
So I still remember I didn't want to marry.
I remember.
So I had told grandma then, and I said, that I wasn't going to be married, that I was going to be off in the ocean because I wanted to do petroleum. I don't know if you remember, I wanted to do petrochemical engineering then,
Yeah.
back then.
Remember
And I
those days?
said, yes, my Schlumberger days. And I was like, I was going to be off in the offshore in the rig. And then I was like telling grandma this, and innocent me, fantasizing about how I'll be like on the rig, screens, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, those kind of things. And then my mom was now like, so where will the kids come in this mix? I say, kids. And then she now started saying, there is that one back where come. So like basically she's just basically saying like her daughter wouldn't like, because I'm like the only daughter, right? So it's like, oh, I'm not going to give my mom grandkids, that kind of thing. And she was just like crying, and she said, no, I have to promise her that I'll do another engineering that doesn't have to do with going into water. So, and then I didn't know any other engineering to do. I was just like, oh, okay, I'm going to do something else, And then I still remember grandpa telling me then, oh, study medicine, so that I'll be his doctor. But my friend Amaka, she was like my big sister. She had gone to, I think she had done her internship then at Schlumberger, and she was just like telling me like all the like lovely stories, and I was just like, oh my god, like this is where I need to be. So I was motivated by the money first. So I was just like, no, this doctor thing, I'm not doing it. I was a very good biology student, but I didn't want to do medicine. So I was saying no, I was going to do engineering. And then because I think Amaka did computer engineering. So I was looking for like the closest thing. I think I also asked her what would be another alternative if I don't want to do computer engineering, because I didn't think I knew about computers. So we talked about electrical electronics and some other engineering courses I could do. And then I went off to Futo to do engineering. So I didn't really like, so within that whole period, right, that's when I was just like, okay, I'll probably get married at some point.
Mhm.
But when I kept hearing about like birthing stories, I was just like, I don't know. Can I do this thing? Can I do this thing? But I was always saying I was going to like adopt children, like have children I was going to adopt to take care of and like grow, like have my own family. But
Mhm.
I don't know when it changed, and I was not like, okay, I really want to be married now, because I still remember every time I would go for a wedding, if I'm there, like I know that people are probably in a wedding and being in the moments. Me, I'm in the wedding and I'm just like fantasizing about my own wedding, and stuff like that. Or my children. I daydreamed a lot. I don't know whether it was being the only girl, but I was always a daydreamer. Like whenever I'm doing my own stuff, like I'm always like daydreaming like about my family, my husband, my kids. So I've always thought about like kids, husband, like family, family, family. Um, and so I guess all the books I was reading was always talking about, like family. And then like we go for like Opus Dei formation. It's like also family, family, family. So it was kind of like shaping my mind for like having a family and what the I guess the church or God's requirements for family is. So there was never a time I was just like, okay, I'm going to have children now and I'm going to have kids, or like it was like, okay, if I'm going to be married, if God allows us to have kids, I would have kids, and then I would raise them, I guess. Yeah. So
Okay, I like that. That was very real. As we say. That's very real, actually. Because I'll not lie, Sha. I've never really thought about like having the family and whatnot, or kids, or how to raise my children. But I can see myself always like picturing that these days. Maybe it's age. I don't know.
so you
But
didn't have, it's funny because when you say this, right, maybe it's for guys, because when I ask Emeka like, oh, didn't you have like times where you're like, like fantasizing about your family, and he's like, or like a wedding, that kind of thing. He's like, nah, women they take that one, no. Yeah, for me, it was just like, oh, okay, have my wedding. I will dance to. I even did the song I was going to dance to and stuff like that. But yeah,
And
that's funny.
I think society also plays a part in this because, like, I guess I've gotten to the age where like people are asking me, so like, okay, do you have a wife or do you have the kids? Like, it's as if they expect it to be in a sense.
Yeah.
Oh, like you're too young. Oh, very soon. Just give it a couple of more years. You have your own kids and you have your own family. I'm like, if
Mm.
I now get this couple of more years, I don't have. I'll now look weird.
I mean, no pressure, no pressure.
I'm not being pressured, but I can see how society definitely plays a part in like literally tweaking our brain to believe that that's how it's supposed to be. But
Yes, yes,
I guess
it does.
in some ways it's important for continuity in a sense.
It is. It is.
Okay, so walk us through like a typical homeschool day at your house. Like, is it structured or is it more like, go with the flow or spontaneity? No, maybe
Um,
like being spontaneous. I know it doesn't work in the family.
so I wouldn't say it is spontaneous, and I wouldn't also say like it is like super structured. Because with homeschooling, there's flexibility, which is one of the reasons why I even embrace it. Is like you do things your own way, the way it suits your own family. So there might be families that wake up at 6 a.m., do their things. And, some people wake up at 11, like, I don't think that there is a one way to do things. So like in our own homeschooling household, in my own household, basically, I mean, like you already know, like everybody has different wake up times, right? We have the ones that wake up really late, and we have the ones that wake up really early. So I cater to the ones that wake up early. And I already know, like, I already have a full-time job. It's a 9 to 5. So I typically wake up like super early, like 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. every day. And I try to like get like majority of my own well-being done, like my workouts, my prayer, sit to myself, get some work done. And then around 8:30 is like when the other ones are coming down. But then I've already logged into work, getting some things done during that period. I cater to Tobenna and Izine. Those are those ones wake up pretty early. They are here with me while I'm doing my
The
work.
youngest ones.
Yeah, the youngest ones, yeah. So they're here with me while I'm doing my work. I get a break around like noonish or so. I switch off over. When the older kids come down, they eat their breakfast. I've already made the breakfast, so they just like it's oatmeal. So they just do themselves, clean up. They do some independent work by themselves, and then we have like touch points where I kind of like walk them through what they're supposed to do during the day. They also get like time, like they don't do more than 2 hours of schooling in a day, and then they can kind of like go and play. When we're done, we come back in, eat dinner, make dinner together, eat dinner. Like it's not really they have to go out for something, a class or something. We go for it, come back, but there is no like, oh, it has to be this way. Sometimes we school anytime. But I mean, it's structured in the sense that they know what to expect. They know the subjects they have to do for the day.
Mm-hmm.
They know when it's bedtime. Like they know things that happen at night, right? They know the nighttime routine. They know the daily routine. They know the days we go to the library. Like they're structured in that sense. But of course, like things could happen. Someone could be ill, something could happen. We could have a visitor, like things can throw off your plan. But at the core of it, it's structured to a point, but it's not structured to the point of like, okay, you have to do math from 10 to 11. And then when you finish the math, because sometimes you're doing math and you haven't finished what you have to do, right? So we do time blocks. You haven't finished it. You haven't finished it not because it's because you know how like someone is in a zone, right? I wouldn't tell you it's 11. Stop. Let's switch over to another subject. I want you to get to the point where you're like, okay, I can leave off at this point, and then you get a break, you go to your next subject, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's how I sort of like do it. Like, it's not 9 to 10, do your math, tick, tick, tick. I'm not making them to tick. I want them to really love the learning. I want them to enjoy what they're studying. Like, finish what you have to do. Like, it's like, I wouldn't say be an expert in it, but like, master master the topic, not just do some worksheets. You see what I'm saying? Like, if I see you haven't learned a particular topic, I wouldn't move to the next one just because the timetable says you have to move. Like,
Mm-hmm.
exhaust it, right, till you're tired, and then come back again to it maybe the next day. Or if you have you can be, I mean, we all learned in school, right? Even now, we still keep learning. You could be doing something else and you remember something. Like, I know it's funny because there was a day I was, me and Ezra were having a talk, and then he had told me about some code, right? And then he goes back like, I just thought of a different way to make that thing more optimized. And I was just like, okay, like, you're thinking even about something, even when you're not doing it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I want that person to have that sort of like desire for it, not just, okay, let's tick off something on the
Yeah.
checklist. Yeah. So
Which is something I guess more traditional learning practices could be because they are paid for like hourly. So you need to
exactly.
do this to this hour, regardless of whether you learned it or not. Maybe you can come back to it during the next session, possibly.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not following. I mean, homeschool, the reason why you're homeschooling, right, is you're looking for flexibility, you want mastery, right?
Yeah.
Um, the other reasons too, I mean, you don't want bullying and all that. So I'm not trying to replicate a classroom, a traditional classroom in my home,
Mm-hmm.
right? Different kids learn different ways. Um, and so imagine with 4 children, they all learn differently. Like, you can't even imagine, like, they all learn differently.
Do they?
So,
Okay. Yeah. Keep talking.
no, no, I'm just saying, like, yeah, they all learn differently. So,
So everything is like tweaked depending on the specific individual.
child. Yes, I mean, it's still the like main core things, but it's tweaked to that individual's learning, what is the word? Learning way, or what, capability, process. I don't know how to say.
Learning process. Yeah.
Yeah, the way that person learns, right? So I was doing like our homeschool review. We went to do the homeschool review yesterday, and as I was going through like the things that we had done, as I was creating their portfolio, and I was going through the things they had done, so I was trying to look through to see, what Eze had done in his first grade versus what Chichi is accomplishing in her own first grade, just to see, am I matching up, right? Is she, because sometimes, I mean, it's not like you're comparing, but sometimes in your head you're just like, oh, I'm not doing well, or I'm not doing okay. So with having like 4 of them, right? I mean, 2 are officially homeschooled for the government, like, to require for the state, right? The other 2 are not, like, I don't have to do any portfolio for them. It's just like me teaching them in the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the 2 that I have a requirement for, um, I always try to, like, I keep their records just to be sure, like, okay, at this stage, what has this one done? At that stage, what has this other person done? And then, like, when I'm going through, I'm just like, sometimes, you're like, hi, you be like, I'm beating myself up. I feel like I'm not the trial for this person, or that, or when this person was at this age, they were doing this. But when you go back and look at what the person has done, I mean, the stats don't lie, right? Like, if you're keeping your records well, you're just like, oh, okay, actually, this person is not doing badly at all. So it's not to say like you're comparing, right? It's more like you're trying to know. And when I did that, I was just like, okay, yes, we are sort of on track based on what our goals were for the school year. So when I do the goals for the school year, I actually do with the kids. Like I look at what you should know for first grade or second grade or third grade, right? And then we kind of like walk through it and say, okay, this year, maybe like teaching, and I'll be like, okay, this year you should have mastered your multiplication. You should have known like long division. You should know how to multiply by 3 digits or something like that, you know. And then at the end of the school year, we check, did we accomplish those goals? Yes, we did. So it's more like, and then so there's something that is beautiful that we do once in a while. We call it like, so they like it because they hear me talk about retros at work.
Mm-hmm.
So now we do retros in the house, and then we do like every month where they kind of like tell me the things that they've done, the things that they haven't done. I'm probably going to put up a video maybe one of these days. And then isn't it probably like be like, oh, she's suggesting, like she suggests, oh, maybe when I finish my work for the day, can you give me like can you allow me to watch Miraculous? Like, you know, like so like stuff like that. Yeah, but there's no structured. I know I've read off your question.
Okay, I actually some other questions kept popping up in my head. So, is there a way like you not like compare their how well they're doing compared to their peers outside, like their kids their age? Do you have like maybe percentiles? You maybe grade them based off of in a way?
Yeah,
Like,
so I'm not like comparing them to
not really
kids.
comparing, seeing how well
Yeah,
they're doing compared to their
how they so they take tests. So I let them instead of Maryland, they have the MCAP. So
Mhm.
Eze does the MCAP.
Okay.
For my county specifically, when we were in Montgomery County, he did the MAP test through the public school there. This county, I mean, they don't do that. So I had to pay for Chichi to do the MAP test, like
Mm-hmm.
independently, just so that we can know where she is at compared to other first graders across the United States, right?
Yeah.
And then also, I let them also participate in things that like they participate like in the science fair, for instance, like the county holds for like the public school students. Like if there's an opportunity for them to participate in those things, I let them participate in those things, so they can also like be part of with their peers, right? And then of course, like I look at the curriculum and I try to, okay, what should you have done by this age? So I don't follow the curriculum, like the core standards, like line for line, because for instance, like something like multiplication, 3 digit multiplication, I think you're doing that in like third or fourth grade, but Chichi is in first grade and she's already doing it. So it's not like I'm not following, it's like I'm meeting you where you are at, right? If I've seen you've learned this, we move on to the next. If you're still struggling with writing S, we will write that S so till you learn it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say because okay, if all first graders should have moved to this, then I'll move you to that. I
Okay.
want you to learn that thing well before you move. And also, is it relevant to you? Like, if it's not relevant, like I wouldn't beat a dead horse, really.
Okay. Um. Oh yeah. I guess how would you judge relevance? How would you know if it's relevant to you or not, to the child or not? Do they really know that at that age though?
I mean, when I say relevant in the sense that, okay, let's say I'm telling a child to learn what the primary colors are,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's okay, red, yellow, and blue. And I tell them when you mix the primary colors, you get secondary colors. When you mix secondary colors, you get tertiary colors. But if they are not using it for anything, right?
Mm.
Like, why am I mean, if you've done the experiments and they see it, right? I
Mm.
want for them to even know the thing, not to cram it. Like, I remember in school, we knew what the mix of primary colors would get, but I don't think we had ever mixed primary colors to give us, like, to know. I knew the color wheel, but I didn't know, like, I had never, like, done that experiment to mix it. I think until, like, maybe like jazz too. I still remember Miss Annie Borg teaching us that in jazz too. The color wheel. We actually like drew the color, then we now mixed watercolor and you now get the color. I'm like, but we did that thing in primary school and they told us, like, we literally crammed.
I crammed the rainbows too. I don't remember half of it. Remember
Rugby, why of God, game battle in vain. So it's like,
no idea. Never. But anyway, that's fair.
yeah, so it's like, there's some things that, yes, I try to see the usefulness, right? So it's like, if I'm telling a child to know the agreement of verbs and tenses, though it's relevant to them because they're going to speak English, they're going to write English.
I guess.
And so learn it, understand it, right? Know when you this is a phrase, this is a clause, know when this is, know what part of speech this is. But it's not like, if you don't know what an adjective is, like, you cannot move on to the next thing. You can move on, but you can keep, like, reviewing it, right?
Mm.
Like, you don't come today and you'll be like, I'll tell you, Danda, so what are the adjectives, like, but you use adjectives because you know that when you know what adjectives are, you'll be able to modify what a noun is, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you know words, you can describe something better, right? So you're coming from that angle. So I learned, we all learn parts of speech, Danda,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, they tell you what a noun is. A noun is a naming word, right? And it felt like it was abstract to language itself. But now, as I'm teaching it, I'm like, wow, what if they had made it relevant to us in the sense that, okay, an adjective, you could say the pencil, you know, or a pencil, or red pencil. Like, it literally tells you, gives you more information about that pencil. The grouchy spider. Like, to describe, like, you're using it to describe what that noun is. But the way they just say, you just roll off, what they call, like, definitions. You just know it. You just go to the sentence, underline it, It's like,
They're doing what an action word.
Omo,
But
you can actually have to actually see it. And I think when you teach some learners, they will stretch you to know that thing for you to be able to teach them. And
yeah,
so that's why I also think sometimes, like, this homeschooling is also good in the sense that I'm also learning,
yeah,
I won't even lie.
your learner is refreshing your what you had
Yes. And
before.
I'm also reflecting on, okay, why didn't I even learn this thing? Then, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You're seeing it now. You're like, oh, so this is what they were trying to teach me.
yes, yes. And yeah, it was just, I mean, I'm not saying that our teachers then were not, they didn't do their parts. I mean, they tried. I guess maybe with information they had, but like, there are like tons of information out there
They don't
that,
always tell all their teaching skills to fit. Though I mean, they're not. I mean, some can go that far. The better ones. Like,
yes.
maybe if they see maybe one child needs specific like special attention, maybe they will tell it to suit that child. But
Do they?
that's rare. That's something that's rare.
Unless they know your parents or your parents are sponsors. I don't think that I think I feel like teachers used to shame kids a lot.
No, they do.
They shamed
You
kids
literally
a
see
lot.
the bad child that would be in that or have that
Yeah.
stigma that will follow them throughout they leave that school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's bad, right? So I was thinking it was only in Nigeria that thing happened. It
Mm.
also happens here in the US.
I mean, does we watch? I mean, the movies we watch.
Yes, it also happens here because they they sometimes they divide the class, right? And it's so sad that if they make you a C, like the statistics to support this is like a C student from third grade will remain a C student for life.
Yeah.
It's like that's mind-boggling. So they've already named you, right? I mean, in as much as I don't like the fact that they don't do like grades here, like oh, who came first, who came second, that kind of thing, to
Mm-hmm.
like to like motivate the kids, right? But I also struggle with the fact that so when as I did school, right, for like 2 years, and so I remember him telling me once, I asked him about one boy in his class, and he said, "Oh, he's not in he's in Dr. Kathy's class for math." I said, "Oh, why are you not in the same class with him?" He said, "Oh, he's not an advanced math student."
Maybe
And
maybe that's their way of like maybe knowing that he needs special attention.
yes, it is. But at that little age, telling a child that they're not advanced in a particular subject, like, I feel like you're naming it, like you're telling him already. Like,
Yeah.
could they break up the class but not tell the person you're not advanced or you're advanced? That sort of thing. You see where I'm coming from?
Sure.
Because at an early stage, what it can do to your mind, it's supposed to help the child, but it could also do damage to that child as
Yeah.
well.
Especially like
Just,
there's a self
yeah,
and everything.
yeah, just knowing that you're not up to what
Mm-hmm.
others are. So it's like there's a good class, and then like, oh, they're still teaching you, or like, oh, a person is in a language arts class, they can't read. So that's the problem I have. It's like you can read and you're in third grade, but you're still in third grade, and then they send you to a different class to go and learn reading. Like, make it make sense.
That's, so okay, something else I wanted to ask actually. I know like there's a lot of misconception around homeschooling in the sense that the people question how much social learning they they experience. Like do
Mm-hmm.
like if they have friends, do they experience something? Because I know like it's hard to like teach real life per se if all you're doing is focused on like books and schools, because the bullying parts, getting through all those things, those are also experiences that could actually educate you in its own way. So do they get some social learning? That's what I was trying
Mm-hmm.
to limit. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is something that a lot of people like, jeez, I hear that so many times. Like every family member I talk to, and I say I'm home, they say, the social aspects. Ah. What about it? It's not all about book, it's the social aspect. So the social aspect, they're part of a homeschool group co-op, right?
Yeah.
Where they mix up with other kids. But there's also something that still like boggles my mind when people talk about social aspects, right? Because kids who are in school, you're socializing with your classmates.
Mm-hmm.
Kids who are homeschooled are socializing with everyone, your peers and people who are older than you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about bullying, for instance, right, it's a child who hasn't developed fully. And I speak this because, especially for the male child,
Mm-hmm.
so a black boy is termed ADHD or autistic or something, or having a neurodivergent thing
Mm-hmm.
because they are expressing themselves, right? The school is tailored to cater to females who are different in learning. So if you look at it, most times teachers are females. Very rarely you see male teachers, and when you even see them, most times they're teaching things like PE, right? Very few teach math, or like, so what boys get to third grade, they're not represented. They're not seeing people like them in teaching. So they're using the model for a girl. A girl will read books. She will sit calmly. They say, don't talk. She won't talk. She will stay calm, Like, I mean, growing up with you guys are like, always hyper, running around doing things, playing games. Like, they'll just say to me, don't make noise or don't talk. I wouldn't do it. But you go to that to a boy, like a girl, like a boy will, they'll find ways. They'll steal the game back. They'll do things like, and those are like normal boy behavior. They'll run around. They want to compete. They want to rough house. And they term that something else because that person is exhibiting himself or trying to be a boy. They even choose books that are not suited to a boy. They'll choose books that only girls will want to read. The boy does not want to read that book. And so they say the boys are not progressing academically, right? So I think it's a problem for boys, especially in a school setting, and they haven't developed their mind. So a young boy who maybe is very nerdy or likes to read, or when they come to a school setting, they're going to be bullied by other boys because they want you to be the bro, like be the cool one, right? I still remember when I was in school, and then it's like when he's talking to me, it's like brah. I'm like, what did you just say, brah? They want to play like basketball, do things, and he's telling me like games, like, I mean, mind you, he was in a private school. He wasn't even in a public school, and then he's telling you things like some of the boys like are doing, and like, oh, this person was being naughty in class or that kind of thing, or they're being disruptive in class, and you're using those words for the child, disruptive in class. So I think you need to protect that person's mental, let them develop to a point where they can stand up or defend themselves or not even go with the flow, right? So my daughter, when she was there in school, she was like 4, right? So they're like these people, like they wouldn't want to play with her, or they'll tell her how her hair was, stuff like that. She was much younger. Eze, on the other hand, I think he was like 6 or 7 then. He was like in 2nd grade. I think it was 6. He wasn't as mature, but I feel like he had been in the house and he had gotten some grounding that even when he was just a new student and people didn't want to play with him, he didn't care. And then he'll tell Chichi, why are you worried if nobody wants to play with you? Play by yourself. Like have fun. Like, why do you need to play with somebody? That kind of thing, right? So even though he wasn't even like that much older, but he has started getting some of that like from home, because you have affirmed him to the point that he doesn't care if you don't want to play with him. He's enough for himself. Like, he knows that he's loved in the house. He's loved by people around him, But she then hadn't gotten to that stage. She's like 4, right? And she was like in a pre-K class. So her, it's like, people don't want to play with me. Like, why? Then she's telling me, oh, mom, can I make my hair like a little more silky? So it's like those things are like disturbing her at that stage. But like when I pulled her back, and I mean, you're telling her those things, and then now she's in the house. She's got like so much confidence, and she's getting her confidence. I mean, she's not like 100%, like, but now you're now knowing who you are. Know who you are first before you go outside there and they'll crush it for you, and they're not doing it intentionally. It is what the world is. But I think like you need to affirm yourself with people around you who look like you, who will tell you, that kind of thing. Yes, like
That was very, very I guess prevalent in our childhood in its own way.
yes.
That helped me a lot, especially like in Air Force and whatnot. Because yeah, regardless of what I went through, I was like, I'm a Moyembo, like nothing they should, nothing they happen.
Sometimes I used to like, how like when people telling you, one good, one egg, well, like affirm you, all those affirmations that they give you.
Hmm.
It feels like it's nothing, but it's lifting your shoulders high. Like
Yeah.
it was so if we didn't have sort of like affirmation and confidence,
Mm-hmm.
and you come to this America, you
Yeah.
know, people when the people say like you're in America, they think it's just, and you come here and somebody will try to, and they're not doing it knowingly, oh, they just, life will happen. You will have to, when you know on whose shoulders you stand, like you
When the foundation
you
is not solid, you
yes,
yeah.
yes, and then imagine when children are being born here, right? I mean, we came from back home, and then we are coming here, and when we look at people and they're trying to be, you're like, these people, who are you? Do you know where I'm coming from? Like, not be because I'm in this place, so
All this
like,
victim
relax.
mentality, all these problems like parental,
Yes.
you're like, wow, you see how important when people say the family is being broken, which is what's affecting like the black community.
Yeah.
They're learning about all this and seeing how important having a very solid foundation, like parents, mother and father, that you know that you can easily lean back on and that are like
Ah.
independent and strong in their own way. That is
Yes.
a lot. That is a lot.
Yes.
If you look back, see your mom struggling, blah 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 blah, you're like, oh my gosh, like is she the one that's gonna like help me defend me and this thing? That don't block you mentally. Like it actually cuts out your confidence. That's why you go seeking out for external ways to build
Yes,
that
yes,
confidence. Yeah.
yeah. So imagine a child now who is born here, right? And how will I even say it? Like I want to say it in Igbo, "Opo eshi hogi ike nani, okuko
Yeah.
deku deku,"
Your feet
right?
are not strong on the floor.
Like okuko deku deku, like it's like you just, and then you now go out, and then they send you out. It's almost like, okay, I'll say the way mommy will say it. "Etijego odeg."
Mm-hmm.
Obeg is like the forest
Yeah.
by yourself. Omo, the lion will go, it will just carry you like that. Because what it means, what I'm trying to explain is you haven't been grounded.
Yes.
As a small child, it's like they give birth to you, you're in daycare. People who, somebody is always saving you. Who is saving you? Oyana Chocha is saving you all the time, right? And they are telling you how you should be, how you're conditioned to be. You're not seeing representation around you.
Yes.
You're also in the school. You want to run around. They're suddenly telling you that something is wrong with you. You know? So it's like, what are you talking about here? I still remember, I don't know if you remember when Eze was in that Montessori school,
Mm-hmm.
and because it was the first time he had entered a bus and he really, really loved entering school bus. And so he wanted to be in school. So he did a half day because we just wanted him to like go get out there and come back, like, try it out. So school was supposed to be 9 to 2, or you do 9 to 12. So he did 9 to 12. So whenever the school bus dropped him, maybe they will stop. The boy will start crying when we tried to bring him out of the school bus. And these people had the audacity to call us, to ask us that the bus driver complained that the boy always cries when we drop him. Like, what is the problem? And then I was so naive. I didn't know what they're talking about. It was Emeka that was like, what? Emeka now said, no, please. He's a young boy who is 3 at before then.
Mm-hmm.
He literally enjoys the school bus. So he doesn't want to leave the school bus. He even wanted us to do morning and drop off and pick up. We only did pick up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he's enjoying the school bus. So basically, what they were insinuating is that maybe we are doing something to him in the house, so he didn't want to come back home. It's like what are you guys talking about here? So like this is why they called me to ask me why is he crying. So it's like little subtle things like that.
Yeah.
If you're not, or you won't pick those things up, and you won't be able to defend yourself and build your child up in a way that they'll be able to face the world. I mean, you're not going to protect that child forever. People say, oh, you're protecting the person. No, you're not protecting the person. You're building the person up to the point where when they are full and they've built their confidence,
Yeah.
they can face the world knowing that they know who they are. Man, know thyself.
Yeah. I think yeah, I don't think people honestly, I don't think the importance of parenting is 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 being talked about enough, because literally these are the building blocks of society. You're literally adding, like, when people say having kids is selfish, is whatever, because of you want to build your legacy. I think that's the exact opposite. I think having kids is actually a very, very selfless. That's probably one of the most selfless acts. You're literally, you've been living for yourself for the most part, but at that point where you actually give birth to a child, you're
Your
starting to
life changes.
living for someone else. And what better way? I don't think it's a better way to impact society than actually raising your kid in the best possible way. Because
Yeah, because it stretches you, Danda. Like you grow in so many ways. It's like, okay, then you can even see your faults. I mean, when you become a parent, like literally, like you're seeing your life change, and it's going to grow you in so many ways that you can imagine. Like you would see all the flaws that you have. Okay, I'm not a very patient person. Oh, I do this when I'm angry. Oh, this thing that happens to me. Then you now see yourself actively seeking to heal yourself, because if you're going to transfer those trauma to your children, right?
mhm.
So it's like you're also going to heal yourself and also heal the child. I mean, I don't want to enter the into whole gentle parenting and blah 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 blah. Omo, do you?
I
Do
don't know
you?
if you do, you honestly, because I feel like that's why I think it's very, very important that
There's no one way.
every parent has to be very, very educated. I wish there
Yes.
was a way to actually vet people before they decide to become a family, but
Yeah.
that might be
Yeah. You
too.
know this thing you just said now about vetting parents, right? I
Mhm.
mean, there are people who really want children and they cannot have. And then you're saying things like, I mean, I'm going to enter social media now. So I don't know if you know that Kenyan woman that said that she has a child with chief priest, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then in my head is like, who are you? Who do you think you are attacking by bringing your child out in social media and the child is crying and you're talking on social media, come and carry your child, come and carry your child. Like, what exactly do you think you're doing, right? If you think you don't want to parent the child, send the child to a motherless baby's home. Let someone who needs a child adopt the child. It's like, I don't know why people think they can use children as baits, you know? It's like,
It,
raise,
it should be a crime. Well, I mean, that's a whole different system. Because literally a lot of the problems we have in society today, the individuals who keep chipping away at positivity in this society, it cannot be traced down to bad parenting, like traumatic
yeah,
childhoods, like messed up. If you look at what I watch all those documentaries about serial killers and everything, every almost over 90% of them like have traumatic childhoods, literally.
yeah.
So that's really there. Even Nigeria's problem today, most of it is parenting. I know the government has its fault, but even those government people, they came from parents who are Nigerian.
Yeah, they did.
So
They did,
at the
yeah.
end of the day, even the whole money poverty mindset that it's literally an issue now. Probably one to as far as I'm concerned, the biggest problem we have in Nigeria, still parenting. At the end of the day, still
Yeah, because if a child is born, right, and maybe they're from like a poor background, and your child suddenly buys you a Mercedes Benz and you don't ask them where did the money come
they
from,
don't care because for a
you
lot of
know?
Nigerians, it's not about going to school. It's not about learning. It's about getting a certificate to help them get a better job that can get them out of poverty. Whether you
Yeah.
learn how to read or write doesn't really matter as long as you can get a check, you can get money.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that don't have business being in schools. Like even the the problem long go, because even some of the people that are teaching some people that are teaching, they don't really want to be there, they just want to have a job too, you
Yeah,
know.
they
There's so
don't
many
really want.
people that don't have business being in schools, being teachers, because at the end of the day it's not even the money is not, because teachers are not paid well, right? but some people still do it because of the love that they have for impacting the society. But um, they're still not honored for the things that they do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, yeah, yeah. I mean, imagine when that these tell us that when they were in school, they had like meal cards. Hostels are like so much better.
Mm.
I mean, you submit your meal card, you get a food from the food school cafeteria. Like, I say food cafeteria. When we went to school, you eat in a buka. We're 12 in a room. So it's like, is it getting better? Is it getting worse?
Well, you never. That's a very difficult question to answer. That is it getting better or worse? Because you could pick at several parts of it and say, okay,
Yeah,
getting better.
yeah.
Well, anyway, another question I wanted to ask you, like, with all the 9 to 5 homeschooling, how do you stay sane?
I don't know. God.
God.
God. I mean, that's all. I mean, like pray. I ask God for strength every day. And then of course, like also having supportive partner also helps too as well. So and
Mm.
then family. I mean, there's sometimes I'll call you, you come down. People are always there like to help. Yeah, just having supportive family, supportive partner, and yeah, God.
Mm. Do you think homeschooling has made your bond with your kids stronger? I would say so from
Um,
what you've been saying, I guess.
yeah, I mean, if I tell them that they will go back to school, like so, if I tell them that I'll send them back to school, but they'll start crying. So I guess they enjoy being in the house with us. So I would say, yeah. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, even if they were not being homeschooled, I mean, if they're not being homeschooled, the only thing, like when they were going to school, I felt like we didn't spend enough time
Mm.
together because they're like off from like I think it was like 7:15. They leave the house at 7:15 and they'll be back like around 3. And yeah, it's like a short time. By 8 they're already in bed. They're off the next day. So it's like how much time do you have with them? But like now, like we have so much time, to hang around with them and do stuff. I mean, they're not going to be with me forever. At some point they would leave the house, do other things. So let me cherish these moments that
Okay. I
we
mean,
have.
I'm sure the work from home helps a huge deal. So,
Yes, it does. It does. If I wasn't working from home, yeah, it would have been a mess. Yeah, I don't know.
oh, well. So what would you say I feel like we've kind of answered most of my questions, to be fair. But
Hmm.
what would you say the most rewarding part of homeschooling?
Flexibility, hanging out with kids, knowing knowing each of them on a deeper level, and also learning to myself, like also teaching me, like showing me what my flaws are and pushing me to grow in ways I've not even thought about. Like, oh, okay, like I went for a retreat, right? It's like I'm trying to also be a better person to be better for them as well. So yeah, I think homeschooling does that. It teaches you patience. I'm not still very patient yet, but like it teaches you patience. It teaches you a lot of things. Yeah.
Okay. What would you say is the toughest part?
The toughest part is managing my time. I still struggle with managing my time. I mean, I have systems and structures in place, but sometimes it just feels like, can we extend this 24 hours in a day more, just a little bit, you know? And then also the fact that they are all at different levels. So it's tough sometimes, It's like this person is doing this person is like this high level, this person is like at this level. So it's like balancing up to kind of like match up. Sometimes I'm like, oh, am I giving each and every one of them the better version of me, or that kind of thing. So those are the tough parts that, yeah.
Okay. So do you think there are any like downsides like you have to navigate? or anything that you feel like there's like downsides to homeschooling specifically that you have to navigate? Would you say so?
Um, I wouldn't call it downsides. I mean, I would say, I mean, everything has its pros and its cons, right? People also think, oh, with homeschooling, you're saving money. You're not. You're actually spending a lot more money in homeschooling because there's so many things that you have to pay for. Somebody has come down. Um, yeah, so I'm coming. Good morning.
We're
Okay.
almost done.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to stay here? You can just sit there here and hang out here. Okay. I'll soon be done. Yeah. So I'll say it. So I mean, the cons are, I mean, money, time. You're spreading yourself too thin, right? Because it's like, oh, you're also working, but you're also like homeschooling. What else? I mean, me and you trying to schedule the school was hard. It's like finding the time, right? Like I said. Yeah, so I mean, we it's not like we don't talk. Like you can come and we talk anytime, but it's like, oh, I can wait till I sit down, put camera, like that kind of thing. So yeah, structure things like that sometimes. You just have to know, tell yourself that it's for a short moment. Like your life is not going to be this chaotic forever, and
Hmm.
you just embrace that. It sort of like gives me comfort when I'm just like, oh, I'm stressed too. I mean, there are things like some of my friends are not even married or don't even have kids yet, and yeah, there are things that they are doing now that I'm just like, no, I want to be doing that. Like I want to be able to like wake up and carry my bag and
Also
say I
ask
want
you
to go
that.
to France, that sort of thing. But like now I have to like plan it. Okay, who's going to come and watch the kids while I'm gone? Or maybe we have to take the kids because we like to take them along with us anywhere we go to. It's more expensive, sort of stuff like that. But just telling yourself that it's not forever. I mean, but you're building memories, it's not going to last forever. And you're also giving that child things to remember,
Yeah.
for life. It's like, remember the times like, oh, we did this as a family. Remember times we used to be in grandma and grandpa's house. I just now I'm just thinking about it. For me, they probably wanted to just like have some time to themselves, right? And then they just say, "Oh, we'll get your holiday, like their grandma and grandpa," and they sort of like, I mean, maybe that's probably what they could afford at that time, but like it was like, I mean, those like were the best holidays if you ask me. Just being in grandma and grandpa's house then,
Hmm.
all the grandkids are there. Then like nothing. I'm not even joking. Like nothing trumped those vacations. Like
Those
it was
were like
like
the best times for me, man.
yeah, it was like so epic. Like, and they were like levels. So, because I didn't go for vacation with you, I went to like one neck and then manager for them, right? So it was like we had our own crew of cousins that were there at that time, or like like I mean, so at the end of the day, it's like make things work for you. Or even when they'll say if you come first, they'll give you the ishiakuko, the head of the and then they'll papa bought mama Kenyatta, like everybody was just like, oh, Sonia bar first, Kendi bar first. So it's like those things, like talking about family again, those things were good,
Yeah.
it helped you to, to solidify what your values are. So my people are beginning to come down.
Yeah. I can see Eze at the back.
Hey,
Hey,
okay,
Eze.
go. I'm in a meeting, is it? I'm actually on a call.
Eze, we'll play chess again.
It's not just my brother. We're actually recording a podcast for him. Say good morning to Fernando.
Money.
Stay this way. I'm coming. We're almost done. I
Okay.
know they don't.
So
They think I'm just talking to you. They don't know.
okay. So I was going to ask you like, do you have any like regrets in overall like with parenting? Do you wish like okay maybe you waited a little bit and to have done more things before having kids and whatnot?
Um, no, not really.
Are you
I
sure?
mean, there's sometimes that I'll be like, I'll tell Emeka, come on, you stole my youth, so I should have just not married you so that I will, I will hang out and do stuff. But and but now I'm just like, in hindsight, I had actually written, right? Like, I don't know if you remember that I used to keep a lot of notes in the house there.
Mm,
Like, I had actually like written it, like, I wanted to have my first child at 25,
mm,
27. I almost like it fell in line, right?
mm-hmm.
With almost like the plan I had. Thank you, Jesus. Like, you didn't laugh at my plan. It almost like all the things like I had written, like, oh, have, even though I said 6 children then, but like I have four. But yeah, but I think I say it more in like maybe try to like annoy him or to be like almost that kind of thing. And I'll just be like, you just. But if you think about it, I had written I wanted to have kids at start having kids at 25, and I started having kids at 25, right?
Yeah.
But when the pressure of parenting comes, I'm just like, maybe I should have just waited and enjoyed my life. But what is enjoying your life really at the end of the day? If you think
Yeah,
about it,
actually,
right?
there's you can still do anything as long as everything is planned accordingly, like planned well.
Yes,
Yeah,
I mean, when I say enjoy my life, it's just like I said, it's just so like I can travel without anybody.
yeah, not
But
not caring about anybody else.
yes, maybe not calling, but I mean, but that's what but that's what all of the joys are, right? It's like your heart is broken into different pieces. Like
Yeah,
you can I can still go somewhere, but I'm still thinking about them and I'm not settled. So that's why I'm like I have to be with them. But if you think about it, I don't think it ever stops. Okay, let's think about mommy now. Like when she's in Nigeria, like we talk to her like every day, right? It's like she's there, but her heart is still here.
it's okay.
Like
It's too cute when she calls you to like tell me don't miss your interview. Like, why would I want to
it's
miss an interview?
I know. It's like
Like,
she
why
still
would?
knows everybody's plan. Like I will
Yeah,
call her and I was like, what can I call that? Like I joke. I like to joke to her. And I'll be like, you're everybody's PA. But it's just like it just tells you how beautifully like
yeah,
someone that can love you unconditionally. Like how can you get that kind of love? I mean, apart from God, like
yeah,
how can someone love you like that, like so selflessly? And
yeah,
it's actually such a lovely thing to be able to love someone else so selflessly that you're ready to like give up your own self
yeah.
just for the other
That's
person.
crazy. Like the fact that a lot of times, like my successes give me joy, but like having people that like when they are successful, you get joy off of that. That's something like
Yeah.
invaluable. Like even with siblings, like when something good happens to you, I think you're
Yes.
very happy, which is imagine if it's just yourself, your own
Imagine,
that gives you that.
imagine like your own DNA too, like your own spin-off of your own child. Like sometimes Chichi will do something, I'm just like, wow, that is just me. Like, you know,
That's
it's like God allowed you to have little humans just like you. And then you can see everybody's personality. Like sometimes the Ben will do. And we see like Emeka's personality in him and we just like laugh. It's just such a beautiful thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you have anything to tell people that like have like doubts about like homeschooling, parenting as a whole, like having kids, all of that? Like maybe people like us that we're still yeah, we're learning.
I
You
mean,
know?
I don't have like words like I'll just say if you're called to parenting,
Mm-hmm.
give it your best. Try and give it your best. Do whatever it is within your power in every way to raise kids who will be better than you.
Yeah,
To try and do things. I mean, the world out there needs people who are raised well. We need better better kids for the society. And if you want to homeschool, just take it one day at a time. Like I still haven't figured a lot of things out, and I've done this for a long time now, like almost 10 years, and I still have a lot of things that I'm figuring out. You can't know everything at the same time, but just be open to learning. Because if you have that mindset, then things will generally work out for you,
mm-hmm.
right? And your values or things will change at every point in time. When I wanted to homeschool, when I talked about it, even when I didn't have kids, I was thinking about homeschooling. My thoughts then were to have very super smart kids. But as you start having kids and you're doing the homeschooling, my values have changed drastically from that. It's not about having super smart kids or anything. It's more like having a wholesome person, right? Who
Yeah,
loves to learn. So, like I said, as you evolve, your kids will also evolve.
yeah, that's great. That's beautiful. I think your story really shows how much like intention, love, and grit it takes to parent. I would say, especially when your home is a classroom.
Yeah, the world is a classroom.
The entire world in the classroom.
The
Facts.
entire world is a classroom. Yeah. Yeah. You just keep learning, man.
Amazing.
Don't box yourself.
It was beautiful having this conversation. Actually, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, I was stressed, so you told me I want to have talk with you. I'm like,
Nah,
this
you
was.
did very well. Like you're actually very very passionate about it. To be fair, you did way more talking than I expected.
Oh,
Anyways,
I did. You know, I talk
yeah.
too much.
See, I so I knew you'd be the perfect candidate.
I
I
know, I
love
talk
it.
too much. She had to be calming me down. If not, I'll be
I'll
rigmarole.
let me have it. Have at it. Even when you're asking what I don't even ask. I'm like, it was fun.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for having me, Danda. Let me go and make breakfast.